Even when the money decreases in my bank account, is Allah still there? So we have to be careful where we put our dependence. And we have to be careful where we put our ultimate love. How do we start to love the gift more than the giver? I'll give you some very tangible, practical ways we do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives gifts because Allah is al-Wahhab. Allah loves to give gifts. But sometimes we become so attached to the gift, we forget about Allah. In the case of money, we become so consumed with getting more and more and guarding it and not losing any of it that we may even be put in situations where we have to make a choice. We have to choose between the love of our money and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are faced with these choices all the time. For example, sometimes in order to have, or we think in order to help our business grow, we need to sell alcohol. Or in order to help our business grow, we need to take huge interest-bearing loans. Well, let's look at that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the giver, and Allah is the provider, and we are displeasing Him in order to get more provision. It doesn't make any sense. Well, what do I love most? Do I love the gift or do I love the giver? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not approve of selling alcohol. But if I love my money more, then I will choose my money when I'm faced with that choice. If what I love most is to have a really big house and to have a certain kind of car, but to get that I have to pay interest, what am I going to choose? I choose what I love most. And unfortunately, we have put aside the giver because we're so in love with the gift. We're so in love with our money. We're so in love with our big houses. We're so in love with our fancy clothes and that status. This is a situation which so many of us fall into because we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the gift and we love the gift more than the giver. Another example of this is the people that Allah puts in our life. We said that our spouse is a gift. Our children are gifts. But what a lot of us end up doing is we start to love our spouse and our children as we should only love Allah. But nobody says that. We don't say that with our tongues. But how do we show that with our actions? Again, when we are faced with a choice, the other subtle ways that you can see this is if you ask yourself just a few questions. Because see, the heart is something we can't really see. We can't see physically the spiritual heart, right? But there are indicators. One of the indicators, simple indicator, is what do you think about most? Simple. What do you think about all day long? What's always occupying your mind? There is a direct relationship between the heart, between your love, and your mind, your thoughts. So your thoughts are going to be a reflection of what you love most. What consumes you here, consumes you here. So you can ask yourself, and everyone is aware, what do you think about most? Ask yourself, what is it that makes you most angry? What is it that makes you most sad? And look at your fear, because fear is an indicator of ultimate love. The thing that you're most afraid of, the thing that you're most afraid of losing. You know, we have things in our life that we are terrified of losing. And actually just the thought of losing it can cause a physical reaction, like our heart will start pounding, we might start sweating, you might even get into a panic at the thought of losing that thing. You need to look at that. Every individual needs to look at their own heart and look at what is it really that I love most. And most of the time we will find that when we answer these questions, it has nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Typically, the answer to those questions are the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do you see what's happening here? What's supposed to be on our mind most? It's our Creator. What's supposed to be the first thing we think about when we wake up in the morning? La ilaha illallah. The first thing you're supposed to say when you get up. But it's not what's on our mind. So what have we done? We have taken these things, which were gifts, and we've put them in a place that only Allah should be.